All right. Hello, everybody. Welcome to our spotlight today. I'm Paula, your pet industry coach. And today we are interviewing someone from way across the pond, right? Gemma. And we're excited because this is our first time actually getting to meet. Online we were talking about, we feel like we know each other because we get to see each other. But now it's for real, which is awesome.
Yeah.
And if you don't know who this wonderful woman is, I have posted her information. I'll update in the description as well, so you can get to know her better and what she does. Lots of good things that she has online to help people no matter where you're located. And I actually know you through Suzanne Clothier. You did an interview with her a year ago, I think, when she was out by you, or maybe even longer.
Could be 2 years now.
Could be 2 years.
Yeah.
Wow. And it was so good. I was very impressed by that. So I thought we need to bring this lady on and, learn more about you. So if you don't mind, could you share a little bit about what you do in the pet industry?
Okay. So I have been in the dog training industry for over 10 years now. I initially started with the dog sport love of my life, dog agility. And quickly realized as I was teaching dog agility that there was so much more foundation stuff that underpinned good agility dogs that I wanted to start with puppies and then young dogs. So I'd been doing that for, as I say, I've been doing that for over 10 years now. And I recently, in the last 3 years, started an online business because there were days where I felt like I was on repeat, but I would be saying the same thing over and over again. And fortunately, the people in front of me seemed to find that it was new information. But it occurred to me that really I should be making this more available. And if it was something I was saying over and over again, then it would be helpful for people that were either in my local classes and finding it difficult, a bit overwhelming to take in the information in their weekly class, but also for those further afield that maybe had met me in a workshop but couldn't train with me regularly. So so it's been in-person training for, as I say, over 10 years, and then the online stuff has been, well, it'd be 3 years I think this autumn. So yeah.
Wow, you were ahead of the curve. You were prepared for recent events, right?
yeah, absolutely. It didn't shock me as much as it did some people. Yeah, definitely.
Yes, absolutely. I was definitely one of those people. Like, whoa, get everything online.
Understandably. Yeah, understandably.
And would you say your specialty is still more in the agility realm or pet dog? Kind of what's your focus in online as well as in person?
Do you know what? It's funny because my business plan, I always thought it would be agility if anybody asked me that question. And it's still very close to my heart because it's something that I love to do with my own dogs. But I think the more that I have come to do training with different dogs, it's more, I'm actually just in the process of rewriting my business plan because I think that actually it's changed from that focus on dog sports to like just helping people understand their dogs. And I haven't quite worked out what as a marketing thing that is, but it's from puppies, it's from young dogs, it's from agility dogs. It's basically where there is a miscommunication between a dog and their person. And I'm just quite good at the person will come to me with this story and then I'll carefully listen to the dog and find out actually what's going on. So right. So yeah, mostly it's a communication issue. So I guess it's me helping people sort of get their relationships back on track with their dogs, really.
Yeah, bridging that gap, because that can be a huge struggle for people and very frustrating.
Huge.
Very frustrating. Huge. And this should be interactive. So if there's anybody out there watching live or later, we'll both check in, but I will prompt questions if you guys have specific questions. We have a couple people just saying hello and hi, and that's always nice.
Yeah, that's nice.
So thank you for taking the time, because I love that you even already said, like, I'm working on my business plan. So many people getting into dog training, maybe they don't start out thinking like, they're like, I'll do it as a side gig. And then they're like, this is going to be my like real deal. And I think either way, it's a good idea to have that business plan and have, some ideas around it to make it official, not just make it like a hobby per se, because it's a big responsibility depending on what you're working on.
Do you know, I definitely think that Suzanne Clothier and I, as you know, are very close. And one of the things that I said to her when I saw her at my trip to America in February, God, it was only this February, but it feels years ago with everything that's happened.
And I'm glad you were able to make it back right after
thank
all
goodness.
that.
We were probably a week off not making it home. But yeah, one of the things that I said to Suzanne was, and I feel really strongly about anybody that's working in the dog training industry, is Suzanne owes it to dogs to share her stuff. And I think everybody has a unique experience that no matter where they are in their dog training journey or what they've learned so far or what they still have left to learn, if they understand something and they understand it in a particular way that they might be able to help other people, if they can change it from, you know, I don't like marketing myself, I don't like, you know, making out that I'm the big I am, change it to, you have a responsibility to every dog you've ever met. Every lesson they ever taught you is one that you need to share, that you need to take forward and kind of get over yourself, you know, in the nicest possible way. That you know, our time on earth is not about just us. There's a bigger picture going on, and we need to make sure that the gifts that we've been given, we don't waste, we don't squander those. So
that's beautiful. That's so beautiful, because so many people do worry about putting themselves out there. I mean, you know, there's people that you and I know, I won't name names today, but you know, that are in that realm that are amazing. And that's one of the things that holds them back, is they don't want to say, I can help you do blah, blah, blah. But you're doing a disservice, really.
Yeah, absolutely. Because you know, I'm going to turn 40 next year, and you know, some people are saying to me, "Oh, you're going to turn 40," and I'm like, it's such a privilege. Like, there are people that don't make it to 40, and if you like, I feel like I've got this worldview on where I am now and where I want to go to, and life is a lot clearer than it was when I was in my early 20s, and yeah, that, like, Brené Brown, who's one of my most favorite people in the world to listen to, she talks about midlife being the time where, you know, life takes you by the shoulders and say, look, we're not messing around. Like, you're not going to be here forever. So, you know, the more that we can be brave and you know, step into that arena that she talks about, yeah, it's scary as hell putting yourself out there. It really is. But as I say, we have a responsibility. And I feel really strongly about the stuff that I do, that, you know, every dog that has ever been kind enough to share their story with me, I owe it to them to sort of share those stories on and make sure that their lessons are not wasted. So.
Absolutely. Yeah, I love Brené Brown too. And I just turned 40, so I can totally relate.
Congratulations and happy birthday.
It's just a number. It's just a number.
Yeah.
And if anything, we have all these years we get to, you know, bring with us and to support other people and animals, depending on what we work with.
Totally. Yeah.
Along the way. So I love it. I love it. We do have one question from Jamie. She said, what was the hardest part of just getting started in dog training?
Okay, so the hardest thing for me, so the backstory behind my first dogs, I started with 2 terriers, and oh my, they were good teachers.
I have some myself. I totally can relate to that.
Yeah, there you go. So yes, so but then I had my first very own dog. So those terriers were family dogs, and I'd grown up with family dogs, but it is quite different when you have your first very own dog. And my first very own dog, he was 18 months old. I had entry forms for agility shows in that summer on the desk, ready to go. I was getting excited about planning for the future, and I was walking him off lead to next door's house, and it was a really quiet road. Never had seen a cat on this road ever before. And that one morning, big car coming at speed, cat the other side of the road, and my beautiful dog was knocked down. Now, he was lucky not to lose his life, but he did lose his leg in the accident. And as I've later gone through at length with my counsellor, and I've done in counselling sessions, you know, since then, it was a big trauma to me. So the biggest thing actually for me getting into dog training was being prepared to sort of accept that mistake for what it was, a mistake, and being brave enough to say, but I still have stuff to offer. And I think, although that's a very traumatic story, I think that is the biggest thing that most people struggle with, that what have I got to teach anybody else?
Right.
This is where I would strongly say you have a unique perspective. The more I go through life, the more I meet people, everybody has their own story. And I can relate to some people in a certain way, but not everybody's going to follow me. I'm not everybody's cup of tea, and that's
Exactly.
okay.
Yep.
And, and that's okay. But because everybody will have people that follow them for different reasons and things, what one person has to offer over another person, it's not one is necessarily better or worse than the other, but it's about connection. And when you meet somebody and you're able to connect with them on a deeper level, that you can help them. That's the thing that I realized, that I needed to be brave and accept that mistake for what it was, but be prepared to still put myself out there, really.
Yeah, and you're human. And I find the same thing. You beat yourself up more because you're a professional dog trainer.
Oh,
yes. You shouldn't make any mistakes, Gemma. Like, it should just be perfect all the time.
Yeah.
How dare your dogs do these certain things, right?
Yeah. And you know what? He gave me the biggest gift ever, because not only did he forgive me quickly and easily, which is just, dogs, but also he set me off on this path to really work hard at making sure that never happened again for me, but also nobody that I ever cared about or helped would ever have to go through that. So in a funny sort of a way, I would never have accepted it at the time, that there was a greater good, but when I look back over the course of my life, he did a very he did a brilliant thing for me, and then lots of the people that I was able to help going forward. So
absolutely. And we're trying to make it so people don't have to deal with that ever in their life. Learn from our mistakes, for sure, by exposing them. And I love what Teresa has to say. She says, 40, I thought I was listening to some 20 somethings. We love her. Oh, that's
Thank
lovely.
You very, very much. That's charming, and I appreciate that very much.
So thinking about that, you've kind of shared a lot already, and I just thank you for that. What would you say has been your biggest, it's 10 years, that's a lot of time. What's been your biggest success so far?
The launch of my In-Betweener Dogs online course. So going into the online world was pretty scary, because it's like I know how to do the local stuff, but I'm not sure about this online business. And the first initial thing that I went into was I did my puppy course. I put that into an online format, and I was super excited about it, very proud of it, and it just didn't hit. It just didn't touch anything. And I later realized through marketing research and courses that I'd been on, that when you have a puppy, you don't have a pain point as such. So puppy owners have lots of things that they're going through, but they kind of go, oh, well, they're just a puppy. And so I started with that, and that didn't really make much of a splash. So then I went, oh, well, I've got a local online local community, that I'll see if they want to buy into a membership. And one of the things I realized very quickly about this membership was there was a level of knowledge that somebody needed to be able to join my online academy. There was stuff that I trained that they needed to know in order to be able to use the information in the academy. So I was like, oh, this is not going well. I've done this. And then I hit upon this adolescent course, which was both an adolescent course for sort of young dogs, but it was also about those dogs that come out of rescue or people that have rehomed dogs, and they're just kind of struggling. And the In-Betweener Dogs, the name came from one of my online followers. I said, look, this is the course, and everybody's seen that annoying In-Betweeners TV program. And she said that, young dogs are like that. They're this annoying, well, we fondly refer to them as, they're no longer cute puppies, but they're not quite responsible adults yet. So they're at the in-between stage. And
I love it.
The bit where you want to strangle them. So the In-Betweener Dogs, the first launch of that is probably not only one of the biggest successes, but also one of the things I'm most proud of, that I really appreciated there, how much I could help people, because the lessons, as I say, that when people came to adolescent dog classes, they were struggling to listen because their dog was barking or lunging, or and so that really made a big difference, and it was a big success, and also was was repeatable, and I was able to help more people than I would be able to in sort of regular 6 in a group class, you know, locally sort of thing. So yeah, that's the thing.
And a lot of dogs get returned at that age, I'm sure, no matter where you're located, because they are not cute anymore, as you said, and they're just pains in the butt.
Yeah.
Right? And so that's, you know, that's really critical. Like, you're saving lives by having this in-betweeners, because people can live with them a little bit longer. They can hold on until they're, you know, 3 or 4 years old.
And do you know the thing that I realized, the thing that mostly people needed to hear was that it wasn't that they were like, they weren't terrible owners. It was just that dogs go through that stage. And when you don't have the experience to deal with it, it can feel like it's going to last forever. And oh my God, what did I sign up for? But also just, it's surprising how bad people feel about themselves, about something which, why would they have the God-given knowledge to be able to deal with it? Because, well, I liken it to any new skill. Like if you learn to dance, or like I love Zumba. Zumba's just brilliant. It's one of my most favorite things. And I'm terrible at it. Absolutely terrible at it. And there I am bopping away thinking that I'm doing a great job. And then I look at this person in the mirror and I'm like, she's not moving in time to what the instructor's doing. But, you know, so I know what it's like to be a beginner at something. And that's, you know, to be able to say to somebody, it's okay. It's funny how much that can kind of just set people free, you know, just to know, like, it's okay. It's okay not to be good at it. So.
Yeah, it is. It's okay to be. I mean, and think about it. We would never even be walking if we gave up as little babies, right?
Totally.
All the times we stumble. Totally. But yet, when we get mature, whatever that is, then we don't want to make those mistakes anymore.
Haven't reached it yet, Paula. Haven't reached it yet.
Yet we have these expectations of ourselves that we have to be geniuses.
We do. We
have to get permission from somewhere to say it's okay that we don't have to do it.
Yeah.
So sad. And that was kind of, you know, a combination there. But would you say that there's been a bigger struggle that you've had in the 10 years that you want to share?
Oh, do you know, one of the biggest struggles was I'm proud to say I'm a good dog trainer. I'm a good communicator with people and with dogs. As a businesswoman, oh my. I made a lot of expensive mistakes in terms of dealing with taxes, with not understanding. Actually, I, you know, got in trouble in this country. We have a VAT limit about how much we can earn before we then need to start paying a different tax. And I was unaware that I was reaching that limit. You know, I was, you know, it was a good thing because I was successful.
Right.
In a funny sort of
way. You're like, I'm successful, but now I owe more taxes that I didn't know about.
Right. Yeah. So there have been a lot of business failures in terms of, like, it was a steep learning curve. That success is a brilliant thing, but it's about having people around you that can guide you. And it's, you know, I've always been you know, I love learning. But what can be difficult is when you're knee deep in business stuff, like you're running a business, to be able to keep an eye on the bigger picture and to think about things like a business plan, which most people are like, oh, I don't need one of those. I'm going to put my hand out, you know, I'm going to say, yeah, you do. Because otherwise you can get stung, really. You can get stung by big bills, and these tax people are not friendly like you would think they should be. So, so there was the big struggles in terms of business acumen and knowledge and things, which people like yourself, fortunately, are, you know, there's more people around now to help us in the pet industry. Right. But certainly when I was kind of setting it, there just wasn't. And I made some expensive mistakes, which I'd hate other people to have to follow. So, yeah.
Right. Exactly. Yes. And, you know, we can't be experts at everything. And like you said, you were knee deep. When you're successful, you don't have time maybe to take in that learning right away. Yeah. So you do have to reach out and get support. But yeah, you're already in it. So you're like, okay, we're going to have to do this.
That's good to know now. Yeah.
Yes, exactly. You're like, mark that off the list. Never do that again.
Helpful. Yeah.
Fast learning, right?
Oh my God. Just the steepest of learning curves. Steepest.
I can totally relate to so much of that. Thinking about that, this might be a really good question for people who are starting their journey, or maybe they're almost knee deep in it, is what would be something you would tell someone who's either thinking about getting into, you know, being an entrepreneur or owning a business? Like, what is your tip for them that might help them with some of those things that were really painful for you to have to learn?
So I would say that one of the things that I know that I did in the early days was I surrounded myself with people who, and this was not necessarily a terrible thing, but in retrospect, and I look back, I surrounded myself with people who thought that I was amazing, which is good and nice. But it did mean that whenever I came up with an idea, and I'm the sort of person that could sell ice to Eskimos, like when I really believe in something, that I can be like, yep, single-minded. And that can be a really positive trait for an entrepreneur. But the downside is that you maybe don't take on board the potential downfalls. So the team I have around me now would be people that very much believe in me, you know, and I've always been very lucky to be surrounded by people who believe in me. But I would say that there are some more realists and some more pessimists in there, which maybe in the early days I would have been like, poo-poo, you know, I don't, you know, that seriously, of course it's going to work. Why wouldn't it work? And I think so. Single-minded is good, but so that, as I say, you can avoid expensive mistakes, and so that you can, you know, not rush into stuff which potentially is going to be expensive. That for me has been some of my biggest learning. So if I was saying to somebody to get into it, be brave. I mean, be brave, but just to have that you know, that pinch of realism to make sure that you don't get yourselves into situations where, you know, you're going to financially struggle in terms of you know, your business, but also potentially risking your home and your family and stuff as well. So, you know,
right. And it sounds like surrounding your, you know, with your kind of team, right, of people who are going to support you, but also who are going to give you a sense of reality sometimes, because being in a passion job, which we both are, and you know, serving others and animals, is we can be like, I can do it, I can solve this problem, but then you might be a little bit blind to the things that could come up and be an issue. And so to have someone at least bring them to the forefront, and you have a time to assess it before you go, and I don't care, I'm doing it anyways, right? Still your choice, right? But be careful who you surround yourself with.
It's very, and I don't think I ever like I as I say, I love to learn, but one of the things that I think that it can be difficult when you're an entrepreneur is having people around you that if they're not entrepreneurs yourself, certainly I was of the, well, you don't understand. And yes, to a degree they don't understand, but that doesn't mean that their world viewpoint isn't helpful or useful. So one of the things that I do think, and I wish I'd had at the beginning, was people like yourself setting up communities, to be able to be in a community where I could say, you know, what do you guys think, who are in it too, who understand what it is like to be having to do that big brave thing. But yeah, that, I mean, I think that's important. I think surrounding yourself with good people, but then you have to listen to those people too, otherwise you know, make them a bit defunct. So
you won't have them anymore. And to talk through it, you know, talk through it and understand their side of it, and also still make your own choices along the way. But you know, those knowledgeable choices, not those just like, I'm doing this, my gut says this. Like, hold on.
yes. And sleep on it. Any great big expensive decisions, sleep on them first. My best tip.
Get some sleep. Got it.
Get some sleep. Get some sleep.
Always. We definitely don't get enough of that doing what we do.
Oh my word, we do not. No. But it's like, you know, having a new baby. It's like having a new baby. A business is like having a small child, and it is very demanding and tiring and all consuming. So yeah, get more sleep.
Yes. Nap when you can, right?
Oh yes.
All right. So now for the real big question. What is your next big business goal?
Okay, so so my business plan has been ripped up a couple of times in the last 12 months. So I'd started to rewrite my business plan when I got back from America in early March. And then obviously COVID-19 took the world a bit by surprise. And so I've basically been just looking after my community. I've been looking after my local community, my online community, and just going, do you know what? I'm not going to look bigger than that at the moment, because I just need to, like, it rocked my world, it rocked the people around me, and I just wanted to make sure that we were all safe and and supported. That was my goal throughout all of this. Now, this business planning going forward is some of the hardest business planning I've ever done, because I feel like at any moment I could have to rip it up again. And that is hard. I like forward planning, but this is unprecedented time, so you don't know what's going to happen.
Right.
But no, my next challenge really is, having got through what has personally and professionally been a difficult 12 months, is to start getting some continuity, some stability in terms of when I show up online, what I'm doing for my sort of wider community, as well as sort of the community that pay for my help. So it's, the Facebook page, I was really excited, in the past couple of weeks has hit 4,000 plus people.
Nice.
And I really was like, oh my, how did that happen? And so, so the next thing really is to go, okay, I'm going to be launching the In-Betweener dogs, I think, again, before the end of the year, because we have a lot of puppies that have come out of lockdown that are now turning into these delightful creatures.
Yes. And they're getting out now, so good luck on that. Yeah.
Oh, yes. Oh, we're bumping them into them on walks. Yeah.
I'm sure you are.
So the next thing really is to think about, lots of people have been asking me about, so how do I build confidence in dogs? So I think that you should be seeing a free webinar series on that soon, about how I kind of work with young dogs and how I look to build their confidence. That will be coming out as a free series, I think, soon. And doing a bit more work with my friend Suzanne Clothier. I have a really big interest in border collies, as you may have seen from my Facebook page.
Shocking.
I know. Right? So I'm preparing a webinar at the moment called Let's Talk Border Collies, because it's something that's on my heart at the moment. That the breed that I love feels quite misunderstood. And I just kind of want to set the record straight from their perspective. So there's kind of some collaborations, some new sort of free stuff coming out, and as I say, the In-Betweener dogs, I think there'll be another launch towards the end of the year, assuming that there are no major changes to that plan. But I think that maybe this is one of the nice things about this year, has been it's helped me in spending more time with my community. They've told me a lot about what they needed and what they find helpful from me. And it's maybe helped clarify a little bit more about what my specific gifts to the world are, if you like, so that I can be more intentional and, really get a plan together a bit more. So,
yeah, just kind of boil it down to what people really need from you.
Yes.
And taking that time, because I think, everyone has been affected by COVID-19. Like, there's no exception at all. Yeah. But it's a great time, if we look at the positives best we can, to say, where are my strengths? What does my community want, and what do you want? Right? You as the business owner, like, what lights you up too? So many times we do things that we just do for others, and we realize, like, I don't really find any enjoyment out of that anymore. Right? So how can you, use this time to better yourself? And I think you've done a beautiful job of that. And taking time for yourself as well is really important too, because it's a weird time. And like you said, you might have to rip up your business plan a few more times. There's just too much unknown. Nobody knows. For real. Nobody knows. And we just have to put our best foot forward and say, if this is possible, this will be my maybe plan A, B, C, D, E to progress. But I think you're doing an amazing job. That's why I wanted to bring you on and spotlight you to other women in the pet industry. I think there's so much we can learn from even looking at other trainers in other areas. I mean, it's huge to talk to someone in a completely different country, because you have different things that go on there, but we also have some similarities too.
Yeah, definitely.
So thank you so much again for your time. Is there anything else you want to direct people to? I'll put all kinds of stuff in our description here, but is there anything you want to direct people to that you want them to check out from you, and anything else you want to share with our audience today?
Only that, so if anybody's watching and they're sort of on the fence about whether or not they should go for it, the thing that, whilst in the past 10 years, there's been highs and lows and things, what I can say is I wouldn't swap the past 10 years. And if you are thinking about, going one way or the other, all I would say is just don't regret not doing it. Just don't regret not doing it. So even if you just dip your toe in and you do it in a small way to start with to see if it works, go for it. Please go for it, because so please go and give it a go. You are more talented, more gifted than you think you are. So please go out and share what you have to, with the rest of the world. And if people want to follow, I love to post inspirational things where I can. As I say, huge follower of Brené Brown. So please, if you haven't read Brené Brown, where have you been? Go read some Brené Brown and
watch some videos. Yeah.
Yeah, my Facebook page has all sorts of bits and pieces I admire. So go check that Facebook page out as well.
All right, awesome. I will put that all in the description. Thank you so much again. If you guys have questions later, feel free to post them in the comments. I know we'll both check in, and have a fabulous day. And I'll see you guys on next Monday for another Spotlight.
Lovely to spend time with you, Paula. Thank you.